G and Mark Curry, man. Happy to have y'all back on the platform, man.
What up, though? All right.
Yeah, all right.
What
Yeah,
up, though?
another time.
Shout outs to the Bronx, Detroit,
Right in
my
time for
neighborhood.
Christmas. Yeah, right in time. This is
6
a
Mile
Christmas
Daughters.
gift. Christmas gift.
Merry Christmas. We got a very special show for you tonight. A gift for you tonight. All right.
Oh, man. Looking forward to it, man. So with that being said, right, I want to get into the Rim Shop, part 6 of Mark Curry book, right? I want to get into that. Is it true that Pimp C, he used to come through the Rim Shop? And he made some comments about Jay-Z over Tupac, right? Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. Pimp C and Bun B. I used to manage them guys. I was president of Too Short Records. And I moved them from Port Arthur to Atlanta. And they did some songs. We was doing a Pimp album. We did Pimpin' Ain't No Illusion and with Too Short and Kool Ace.
Shout out Kool Ace.
Oh man, it was amazing, man. That I got an amazing story. I'm glad you asked about that.
Pimp C, it's a good story.
Yeah, I relocated him from Port Arthur to Atlanta to work with Short.
Right. But we always got a surprise guest for him.
And he produced this one particular artist that it was just like illegal, this story. It's an illegal story, where it's like it's too hot for television. We're gonna get one of the greatest shows on earth. And he actually lived with Pimp C and got produced by Pimp C. And I got $1 million offered to Pimp C from Rockefeller to sign to them. And Dame Dash was like, John, just bring them guys over here. And I called and set it up. And
I got one thing to say real fast. All right. Just real quick, not to interrupt. All right. Let's go ahead on and turn it in. Let me go ahead on. Let's go ahead on and introduce you to the world. One of the most interesting individuals the world needs to know about.
World premiere.
World premiere. So then we can really get into this story and really give it up right? Are you ready? All right, more.
What's up, people? I'm Jamal, Philly native. I started out in one of the 90s kids of hip hop duo groups called Illegal. I was signed with Dallas Austin, discovered by Left Eye, Lisa Left Eye Lopez in the early 90s, Billboard Award winning rap group. And I went on to do a solo album called Last Chance No Breaks. And I featured on at least 7 million records that's in people's houses now, from Busta Rhymes to Come and Busta Rhymes Disaster Strike, Red Man, Method Man, Blackout album, Red Man Malpractice, Red Man Muddy Waters, Keith Murray's first album, Most Beautifulest Thing in the World, Keith Murray's second album, Enigma, his 4th or 5th LP, Rapmophobia.
Junior Mafia.
I did Junior Mafia album, thank you.
Big.
With me, C's, Biggie Smalls, Chief Delvec. I've been on a lot of records, man. I like to say that, like it's one other artist out of Philly that share the same moniker with me, and that'll be Corrupt. So I'm one of them artists that really represents hip hop. And I learned from all of the best, man. I've had a lot of great people in my life, and I just took it like an inspiration. I was a sponge and absorbed all the game that I could to create who I was and who I am.
Pimp C was a very different person because he was selling beats and a verse from him and a verse from Bun B. He was getting like 30,000, in the streets. And most artists I work with, I had to go to the record label to check their pockets, to go check their bank and see what type of money the label's on them and just get the money back, right? With Chad, he was different. They were all on Jive, Keith Murray, Too Short, and UGK. So I had 3 artists that was all on one label. And Pimp had his own money. He was truly a true underground king, for the simple fact that I gave him a Benz. He was riding that caddy. I said, let me upgrade you, man. Them big Benzes, G hooked it up, man. Let me hook you up. I put him in that Benz. And He put like 100,000 miles on the Benz in like 3 months. I was like, how in the world? Where did you go? What did you do to put 100,000 miles on the Benz? I never seen that before. So he was like, how much that car cost, G? I said, the car's like 80,000. Leroy, go get that. Go get that money from under my bed. Leroy come back, count the money out. It was me and Eric Sherman over there. And I was like, okay, he paid for the car. I was like, whoa. I had to go to the record company. I was like, what's that? Right? Then I was like, well, man, okay, I'm selling you my car. Now I don't have a car. You know what I'm saying? He was like, what, G? He felt sorry for me. This is what type of person Chad was. Leroy, go back to over there, get some rest of the money, and G, go buy me another one. Like he talked with emphasis, smiled with emphasis. He was the first person I ever seen as a producer put the whole studio in the living room, bro. And he would have a line of trucks with Arkansas, Oklahoma, shouts out Oklahoma, Texas. He would go on that run. That's when I first heard about that Texarkana. And they were all following back and they all cashing him out with a verse and a track from him and a verse from Bun. And him and Mama was running that like a tight ship. And him and his boy Leroy was like just cold player with it. So I knew these guys were different. And I knew Texas was a different place because I was already doing business with Tony Draper them down there. With A-Ball, MJG, Short was doing songs with them, and Drake was like one of his independent. We practiced that side yourself to yourself philosophy. But to see the Underground Kings come, they were like the Ghetto Boys 2.0. So it was really a blessing. And so when he moved up here, I found him a place. They moved up into it, out by the airport, and he put that studio up there. And I seen the Sunday morning after he'd come back from shows on the weekend, and all them cars out there rolling, everybody paying. Like I seen full production. So he was making Jamal an independent album because he was coming out with a whole independent project. And then him and Short, we was making records. And him and Jazzy Faye was going nonstop. They was real competitive as far as beat making with Lil Jon in that equation. That was Short Records.
That's right.
And that's where I was trying to sign Mark Curry to go get all these producers behind him to produce so we could put all our music out independent because that's what we was running, independent. We made a record called Independence Day with Short and Keith Murray to fund that movement. And it was really unique that UGK didn't need nobody. So I pulled up to his house and he said, he done handcuffed Jamal and took him. I said, are you sure that this is what you want to do? You want to lead them two in the room together was like nuclear fission and nitrous oxide mix.
He's a great person. Great person.
So I left. He commissioned me to go to New York to represent because I had Short already and we was already doing business with Jive. So I went up there to go get 100,000 for Jive. But luckily, Short had already worked with Jay, and I knew this guy named Hip Hop. He recognized us up there. Hip Hop since 1978, shouts out Hip Hop. And he set it up a meeting to go meet with Dame Dash. So we go after I leave Jive, I go to Rock to the Rock. As soon as I sit down there, Dame Dash opened up his checkbook, cut a check for $1 million. I'm like, whoa. I was like, is this for sure? He was like, no. He said, we want to with UGK. I was like, what? He's like, we want to with your boys.
That's right.
So I immediately picked up the phone and called Pimp C. Because all I was trying to get was 100,000. When Dame cut that $1 million, I called Pimp on the phone like, yo, Pimp. And him and Jamal was in the house. And I could hear a tussle or some type of confrontation, right? And I'm like, calm down, bro. Y'all calm down, Pimp.
I ran up the cable bill.
They was fighting. They was fighting like hard. And I'm like, Pimp, stop whatever you doing right now. I told you what was going down with Jamal when you moved him up in there. I said, but right now, I got $1 million check for you. And all we wanted was 100,000. I was just like, who is that with? I said, with Rockefeller. He was like, what? I was like, yeah. He was like, I'm watching Dan with the checkbook. He writing it out. He was like, ain't that with over there with Jay-Z? I was like, yeah. He was like, man, tell him to take that check to go give it to Tupac mama, man. He's gonna be stealing all my shit. I was like, what? So I hated that. I called him on speakerphone. So I jumped up to click it, And there was another guy standing at the Dame that was getting another $2 million check to do a venture he was doing with Dame. But I was
Was Lee Daniels?
Yeah, front line and center. It was me, J Mac, and a girl named Mary. So we was rolling with her because she was a cop from Patterson, New Jersey. And she just needed some work. They had retired and we had her because she had a pistol. And we up there and they switched from short business that I thought they was want to talk about short because we was doing songs together. It was like, nah, we want UGK. And so I called them instantly because I knew y'all niggas at the house.
Right.
I was like, yo, I'm excited. I got $1 million. This is it. Rockefeller is the shit. There's this shit. I called Pimp and these niggas fighting. So I calmed them down. And then once Pimp locked in, he was like, wait a minute, Rockefeller. Ain't that where Jay-Z at? I was like, yeah. And I didn't get the connection. I was like, he was like, tell him to take that check over to Tupac mama and give it to him for stealing all Tupac shit. And I'm like, what?
I put him on that Pac life, boy. he went, once I let him hear that Tupac, he went on his mission for me.
So I'm trying to figure out like what that got to do with this, right? So I jump up to take him off and I look up and I see Jay, the door closed. I didn't see Jay at first. He was behind us.
Right.
And I hadn't met him. It had nothing to do with the music shit, right? And he ain't know I managed short or UGK, nothing like that. We just met on some real shit in New York. And I see dude, I'm like, oh shit. I jump up instantly. I go over there like, yo, Hov. And he wasn't calling Hov yet, but I knew he was on it. I was like, yo, Hov, you got to go down there and see his mama, man, and go out to dinner with them boys because they move different down there. They already rich.
Right.
There's too much concrete up here in New York. Them Texas boys not about to come up here. They roll different. So unless you take his mom out to dinner and sit down with them boys, then you could do some business with them. I had to turn down the check. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to be responsible for such a serious situation.
A lot of money right there.
But they was the first. Rockefeller was the first to cut $1 million checks to.
That was one of the biggest checks probably that you had came up on.
100,000 was a lot back then. You know what I mean? So to see that was just overwhelming. And I didn't realize it because hip hop set the meeting up so smooth. I had no idea. By the time I sat down, the check was already cut.
Wow.
So once I called Charlie, I was down there fighting and shit.
Yeah.
And I calmed him down and he did the reality check. Like, wait a minute, Rockefeller, Jay. He was like, we waited. And I called him because I was like, look, man, you fucked up, dog. I said, because I heard the shit he did was short. But Jay about to blow the fuck up, right? The nigga was like, we waited. I was mad at Pimp. I ain't talked to that nigga for like, after that shit. I was like, nigga, you turned down the biggest check of my life. And I really wanted a whole lot, you know what I mean? Especially coming from Eric and him. It was like graduating in the game because I was next. And I kept telling them niggas he was next. And so he missed out on that, but Short got on it. And Short said for one verse on Jay-Z album, this is what Dog told me. He said he made more money off the publishing check on that shit than the whole publishing check from his catalog on Jive Records of 9 albums coming out. I was like, what?
And you saying that Jay heard him say that, yo?
Yeah, Jay heard him. He heard him. Because I had to jump up and apologize for this nigga to clean that shit up quick. Because I was like, I didn't realize he was in the room. So when I seen Hov there, I was like, oh. And so I told him he had to come down and go see them and go talk to mama and go to lunch with, go to dinner with them and sit down and do it the right way. Because that's just how Pimp did it. If you didn't sit down and eat dinner with him and his mama, he ain't gonna break bread with you. That was just the game. Like, that's how he was raised. He had studied music. It was different, man. He knew music from the Conservatory Music of Art. He had studied from an orchestra standpoint. His mom had invested in his career. So to be who he was, so by the time people seen him, it was the counterculture of discovering hip hop and rap down there. And they were like a country version of Run DMC, him and Bun.
Great artists.
Or the
artists.
new Ghetto Boys. It was like Jay Prince had them as the new Ghetto Boys. That's what they were. And luckily, the nigga moved to Atlanta. We was able to get him with Short, and Short just put the game down, and the rest was history.
Right.
So that caused a ruckus because when they missed the first 2 Jay-Z albums because of it. And the next time around, I knew not to call Pimp because him and Jazzy was beefing. And the Master P was beefing. I was like, he's beefing with everybody.
Right.
So I I knew who introduced me to Pimp C. It was Bun B. That's who was my friend. He was down there coming to the rim shops, doing all the ciphers. Bun was coming down there religiously, battling NHMC in sight. So I called Bun. I was like, I had just got done managing Short. I had quit the music business, retired basically. And I was laying on my couch, and Jay, hip hop called me. Phone ring. It was hip hop and Jay. It was hip hop. I got Jay on the phone. G. I'm like, I ain't for Short no more, nigga. He was like, nah, we don't want Short. We want your boys. I was like, who? They were like, UGK. I was, man, call Faith Newman, man. Call Just Sledger. Call John, bro. They were like, nah, G. We ain't calling them. Jay wants you to do it. I was like, oh, word? So I called J-Mac because I didn't call Pimp. I called J-Mac.
Shout out to J-Mac, one of the greatest
James Beard, greatest producer of the world.
You know, he produced on the Nationwide record also. And that's the
Benny Siegel too.
The Rim Shop Records. He did Stilo for Rim Shop
Benny
Records.
Siegel, shouts out Beans.
That's right.
Really. And when I called him, he had Bun on speed dial. He called Bun. I was like, Bun, Jay trying to with you. He was like, what? He flew up there right away.
That's right.
That was like the fastest hit I ever seen, man. And then they flew back the record to Patchwork.
It's a great song to this day.
Pimp to get on
Big
for a
Pimp.
minute. It took Brother Rashid and shouts out to Brother Rashid. R.I.P. to that, bro.
Great video. I seen a lot of strippers I knew in that video too.
And they got on the record and got it done. So me and Short was right in the middle of a Pimp album. And that was another record we made, Pimpin' on No Illusion. It was like a whole little compilation. And him and Pimp fell out right in the middle of that. And Short didn't touch it. And when Pimp C heard the record from Bun, he finally got on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's you some G.
And Greg Street got a hold to it, and the rest was history.